reasons, or two great things, two wonderful discoveries. One, for the first time I understood that the Argentinian had a career, and that this show was going to make him as well as her. I've never understood that ever. I've never understood that, who he really was as a performer. And what I got really clearly then at the outset was that he was really fucked off. That the show that was going to make him a star, like a legitimate star. I mean, you know, we're going about Satin, but the Argentinian's clearly never been, you know, playing on the main stages of Paris, right? And when you were in a Neville, but always in bad, you were really fucked off. And you were articulating what everybody in the hall thinks. This is really bad. We had a really good show because you, the writer, our so-called friend, went and were jumping the star, girl, now our financiers walk. So that's a really good discovery.
I take 7.
One day I'll fly away, fly, fly away.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I climbed up, but I couldn't sleep, and I wanted to thank you for helping me to get the job.
Oh. Yes, well, Toulouse was right. You are very talented.
Sorry.
It's going to be a wonderful show.
Well.
Anyway, we both better go. Got a very big day tomorrow.
Wait. Before, when you, Sorry, I think my radio mic's just fallen down my pants.
28, Charlie, take 1.
My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody that this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, hope you don't mind. How wonderful life is now you're in the world. Sat on the roof and I kicked off the moss. Well, some of these verses, well, they got me quite cross. But the sun's been kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do. You see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell every...
Go and have a supper, and then afterwards we can let Monsieur Zidler know how the story should end.
Watch out, Gary, for the line.
On a night where there will be, I think, many thank yous, there's one thank you and one goodbye that must be done at this moment. And of course, who could that be but the very easy to love Ewan McGregor. If he could come forward, we have to say goodbye to him. And then it occurred to me that, you know, I guess we should have hired a band to say farewell, but of course we didn't have the foresight to do that.
With the money.
Did we? And no.
Well, you all know how I feel, I think. You know, I was interviewed for the some LA silly press thing, and at the end they said, "Have you got anything that we haven't covered?" And I'd never ever been asked that question before and had an answer. And I said that I, more than anything, was glad that we made this film in Australia, and that we made it here. So that's. I think you're fucking top.
Keep and tilting up. A little dialogue to Paul.
That one down there.
I wouldn't go there. Those aren't really women. Unless that's what you sort of like, Christian. That's all right with me. I shan't tell anyone.
Okay, and tilting down. Keep the dialogue going.
I keep the dialogue going. Yes, keep talking. Christian, say something. Say
Tilt
it
right
out.
down
Say
to the
back.
feet.
Well,
They make you look foolish.
what about that brothel over there?
Oh, that's my mother's house. Don't ever talk about my mother that way. She's fallen into bad times, of course. Hello, Mum.
I don't think so, actually. I've always had nothing but the kindest of So funny. It's that kind of physical gag that has got us where we are today.
Another day, same old jokes. It's a new day, but the jokes stay the same.
What if it came off? I killed myself. Right, then you had it on video. You'd be a fucking hero.
What about sequins? I'll just put sequins down them. They could be whatever.
Cut.
House lights.
Right, check the gate on that. Print the last two, and I really want to jump onto the one because...
23, take 7, tail slate.
I think Crow's waiting for the flag.
Oh, that's... What's
Sounds
that,
great.
Shadow? And here's the playback. Down to camera, coming down towards the camera, going back to Woodbury, round and round we go, Bravo.
For an actor, if I'm doing a step, I will often say, this is a framework. This is the shape I want. Feel free to make it your own. It's got to sit on you. If they say, can I do this move or this suits me better, then I'll go with that. If I think it's okay, if I don't like it, I'll say so, but I'll say, no, I don't like that, but give me another one, and we'll fish for something that they feel comfortable with. Things only work when they look kind of organic. So, and actors are quite vocal about what they want and need. So, I mean, there are some moments when there's no option. If 100 people have to go to the right and step, I mean, they're just going to have to cut it, you know. Nicole had done some ballet as a young girl, but she wasn't a trained dancer by any means. But Nicole already came with some qualities that some dancers don't have. Like, she has innate presence and a certain sense of style and a certain look that is quite mesmerizing. She can walk into a room and take over. So that's half your battle anyway. A lot of dancers will have technique but won't have those qualities. And it's actually qualities that it's actually at auditions, it's qualities that people have that interest me more than technicians. She's already got that to start with. And I approach it the same way. We'll just try on steps. I'll say, I want something like this, and I'll show her, and she'll see, so that I don't feel comfortable. Should I do it on the left, or can I go something like here? He's the same kind of, that same actor approach. When we had our first workshop, I did a little routine for both of them. And Ewan was kind of marking what I would call, you know, it wasn't quite there yet, but as soon as the camera appeared in a costume, it was like, oh, I get it. Showtime, and it was on. They're a bit of a giggle fest, the pair of them. You know, like, I had to, like, just throw them out of the room one day, tell them, just go away and giggle, get it out, and come back. The big impact of, say, 25 dancers going really fast and full out. But I tried to make it a bit looser in the sense that it wasn't a structured can-can.
And every time we did the can-can, the response from people like the crew, you know, if you please the crew, then you know you're doing well. And also, you know, everybody in it would just be, the adrenaline would be pumping so much. That I found wonderful to do, because it wasn't just dancing, there was a reason for it. And it just made it, the steps sort of so special, because it wasn't just, oh, I can do this and I can do that. It's like, yeah, come on, compete with me, I dare you.
Well, there aren't many films that have this much sort of movement for work for choreographers to do, you know. So I was very keen to, like, this is like the third one. It was kind of like a rounding off, or I was very keen to do something big.
We have a dance in the brothels of Buenos Aires that tells the story of the prostitute and the man who falls in love with. First, there is desire. Then, passion. Then, suspicion. Jealousy, anger, betrayal. When love is for the highest bidder, there is no trust. Without trust, there is no love. And jealousy, yes, jealousy will drive you. until she found you. She was sweet, incomplete. She'd been had, she was sad and blue, but you made her feel, yes, you made like a virgin, touched for the very first time, like a virgin. When your heart's beat, hold it tight, give you all her love. She's so fine, and she's done. You'll be yours, you'll be in the time.
She's so fine, and she's mine. Makes me strong, yes, she makes me bold. Oh, her love thawed out. Yes, her love thawed out what was scared and
As the choreographer, I wanted to thank this wonderful bunch of dancers for giving me the best time in this rehearsal space, and my two assistants. Paul and Esther. Paul and Esther from the dance department.
We've actually just landed. We've been sitting on the tarmac in Edinburgh for a while. It's 2 o'clock. We're travelling by car now to Glasgow.
We went to work with Craig Armstrong in his studio in Glasgow, one of our dear friends and collaborators. It was a really special time for us because we managed to really enjoy the creation of the music for the film.
I feel my job with ours is to write really beautiful themes for the movie.
He said, well, I'll come to Glasgow. I went, really? So he came here, and he absolutely loved it. And I think part of the reason he loved it, I shouldn't really say this, is that, I think a lot of the studio people just couldn't get hold of him. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even know where Glasgow was, over in LA, but he actually really enjoyed his experience here. And it was funny because at Christmas it was snowing everywhere, and there were like kids playing in the snow sometimes, for Australians to be in the snow is a bit weird. It seems so obvious to say, but most musicals, it has original songs. This obviously doesn't, and the music's separate in any way. The actual story, in a way, is constructed around the choice of songs. There's like any movie, there's a structural thing you have to do to organize it. And then, of course, you've got to completely forget that, because to write a piece of music that's beautiful and true, who knows where that comes from. not only will the music serve the film, the music is also, you know, it can work on its own. And I think that's really important for Baz's films because it's so strong, you know, because visually it's just so strong that there has to be something really strong to balance it. I mean, you couldn't do anything very underscorey and kind of just sort of underpin it. You've really got to put something really strong musically beside it because, you know, his work is just so powerful, you know. But there was one piece in particular that really became really special, and it's a song called Nature Boy. I was playing around with Nature Boy, and Baz loves Nature Boy too, and it's a very, very interesting, opaque kind of piece of music. And the more we worked on it, the more that song, in a way, became, you know, Ewan's theme, in a sense. But, you know, it was really amazing to be involved in the death scene in this film because Baz's death scenes, you know, are like 20 minutes long. I don't know if have you seen Romeo and Juliet?
All of the Moulin Rouge in real scale. The garden took about 8 weeks to build. The street took about the same amount of time. We'd go to the auctions every week to buy bentwood chairs because we needed hundreds and hundreds of bentwood chairs for the Moulin Rouge because Bridget Brosh, the decorator, absolutely wanted some new ones, some old ones, some repaired ones. So the Moulin Rouge had a sense of history and grittiness. And the scale of Moulin Rouge was the daunting thing, and being able to deliver the denseness that was required was very difficult. I mean, I remember, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months ago seeing Moulin Rouge, and it wasn't finished and it was still a bit messy. But I remember sitting down in a screening room and thinking, I haven't wasted 4 years of my life. I am so happy I made this movie. I'm interested in seeing where we're going to go next.
It was about creating the world of the Moulin Rouge and the world that Baz wanted it to be, not the one that's expected by, you know, past Moulin Rouge films or, you know, that sort of thing. I think sort of the day that came that we thought, oh, maybe we're not doing quite such a period thing is when we decided that, you know, one of Nicole's skirts would be made out of leather. It was from that time on that we thought, oh, it still works. It still works in the parameters of our movie. The period police are going to have to kill us. We're just doing it. What is Satine? You know, who does she relate to? Is she Madonna? Is she Greta Garbo? Is she Betty Grable? And trying to find a key into that. She was a star and was more or less constantly performing. So every one of her clothes was a character costume for her, in a sense. We early on decided that each of the girls should be individuals because they were stars of the Moulin Rouge at the time. There were some that were more famous than others. And so from there we went into looking at different characters for each of the girls based on, at that time, either a sexual fetish or a theatrical type. So we had a dominatrix can-can girl, we had a schoolgirl can-can girl, and then we had more theatrical types like harlequins and clowns and so forth. He's comparing the Moulin Rouge to a club, to like a disco of now, or a nightclub of now, where ordinary people get to be extraordinary in terms of who they are in this environment. Now, whether that's the environment of then where you drank absinthe and, you know, fell apart, or now where people take drugs and drink alcohol and go mad. You know, we had 8 cutters. They had several sewers each. I think certainly on our big days we're up to about 75, 80 people in terms of dressers and maintenance people. Yeah.
To create the introduction to Paris scene, we had to use a whole collage of techniques to bring it together, which provided the Animal Logic team both a great creative and technical challenge to complete. Siam took us through her production book, which basically gave us great insight into all the images her design team had created, all the fantastic costumes, all those Photoshop collages which basically mapped out the entire movie. We went through a lot of tests to try and describe that journey through travelling from the wide vista of Paris through this archive world. And we wanted to sort of somehow suggest what the population was like, what the culture was like in Paris at that time. I mean, it was filled with brothels, prostitutes, you know, divey kind of cabaret bars, and all sorts of sex, drugs and rock and roll, I guess, was happening there at the time. Paris at the turn of the 19th century was the Bangkok of today.
The process of building the 3D Paris was it came from a couple of different places. We basically had 3D modelers working on building really simplistic models and then using a lot of displacement to sort of create the detail that was needed on the buildings, as well as R&D who helped us out with a procedural Paris building plugin where we were able to take a map of Paris, say, and outline all the streets and areas we wanted, and then using this plugin we were able to generate a city.
It took a set of textures for walls and roofs and little models of chimney pots and things like that, and basically picked different kinds of random combinations of those things to make lots of buildings.
It's a bit like a pop-up book for children. When you open, you have the different flats who come toward you. So, of course, the problem of this shot is to match 2D, 3D, and motion control on model and live action.
To add a little bit extra to the imagery, we sort of did a few things. Like one of our sections in our library was roof junk. We did put a lot of stuff around, like broken bottles, broken chairs and things left on roofs from bohemian parties and things like that.
We spent quite a lot of time trying to decide what the gates of Mama were going to look like. Gilded around that face were all these strange Gothic sculptures of kind of faces and bodies sort of kind of hanging off, almost Gaudi-esque sculptured cave-like kind of stalactites. Baz and Siam wanted to make a reference back to that time, so they thought it was important that we used and took that facade that's on the club Inferno, L'Enfer.
Our role in doing this was not only as 3D artists, but was to be, sort of detectives in going through all the old photographs and whatnot and finding out what would make it look like a turn-of-the-century Paris. That was sort of part of the enjoyment of the job, really immersing yourself in all of the old images and trying to bring that to life in our 3D scenes.
Originally, Baz was really excited by just some previews that we showed him, which was really rough, of just applying a technique to...
It was very entertaining trying to find the right green, that's for sure.
It was a hell of a lot of work to do for Green Ferry. 30 shots is a lot to do in a hurry. Some of the sequences were 7 frames long. Some of the sequences, I think the longest is about 311. Baz was so particular about what he wanted in like those 7 frames. I think we spent longer on them than we did on the 300 frame shot. He knew everything specifically that was going to happen over those 7 frames, and we had to get it right.
The Green Ferry, once she's actually kind of got the attention of the bohos and seduced them, she shows her true evil side. You are evil! We made her eyes red. I think she looks pretty evil.